Hi guys, welcome to Safe Diving. Now this is my own personal channel, but you may obviously recognise me from a different scuba diving channel, Simply Scuba, and that's because, well, yeah, I work at Simply Scuba. But yeah, this is going to be my own personal channel where I talk about all things scuba diving. So in this very first episode, I basically want to talk about myself, really. So yeah, a lot of people, you'll have all sorts of scuba diving advice and you'll look online and you'll quite often see my face in these types of videos, and you kind of understand that you sort of recognise I know a little bit about scuba diving and I have lots of advice, but you might not know that much about me myself. So in this video I thought I'd make it a little bit easier for you guys to actually sort of know a little bit about myself. So I'm of course Mark, and yeah, I've been scuba diving for a long time now, but if we go back way through my timeline, yeah, it started off basically when I was a child. I was always very much into sort of the water and sort of being in and out of the swimming pool. A lot of that is thanks to my parents. They spent a lot of time sort of getting us into the water and sort of getting us taught how to swim and everything. I'm talking about we, this is me and my sister Claire, and yeah, we both love the water, but we didn't so much just love swimming on top of the water. We love actually diving underneath the water, which my mother wasn't a huge fan of because she was a good mother. She didn't really want her children diving under the water where she couldn't see us, but it really sort of instilled that sort of comfort level in sort of being underwater, and yeah, with great thanks to my primary school, which basically I learnt from a very young age. I was taught how to swim from very, very young, and I was sort of in and out of the water very, very often, so I've become very, very comfortable. And my very first experience with actually scuba diving came in high school when I was about 15 or 16 years old, and that was through the Army Cadets. Basically I did a single, it was kind of a tri-dive basically, where they had a bunch of us, they taught us kind of how the equipment worked and sort of threw us in a pool and we were sort of playing about. And this was actually a great introduction to scuba diving because it was very relaxed, but it was very organised, and instead of just a standard like DSD where you just swim around for a little bit and you do some mask skills, they actually did some quite advanced stuff with us, which it basically entailed there were about sort of 5 or 6, maybe more of us in the swimming pool, and they only had about 3 scuba units sort of in, and there weren't enough second stages for all of you to be breathing simultaneously, so it basically trained us to plan and kind of swim between the scuba units and donate and then sort of move on. So that was quite a good sort of introduction to yeah, basically being underwater, breathing from scuba, clearing a flood regulator, and nothing really happened on from that. I didn't get a qualification. I didn't get the bug quite then. It wasn't until much later after university. So I sort of went to university. I got a degree and then I left, and then I actually struggled to find a job after that. And I ended up doing some marine conservation work. So I was looking around and I found a placement in Madagascar. Doing marine conservation, basically sort of counting fish and basically and seeing all the different species and how well they were doing in specific areas, and this required that I become a qualified scuba diver, and so I did that. I qualified very, very quickly at my local dive centre. I basically needed to be PADI advanced open water, and yeah, they did an amazing job at sort of training me up. They've got their own, or they had their own sort of indoor heated swimming pool, so I could go through all the skills. And then I qualified here at home in the UK, and got all the way up to advanced open water, and then I flew over to Madagascar, did a short stint out there, and that's where I really got the bug of scuba diving. So I enjoyed it so much that as soon as I came back from there, I went back to my local dive centre and I basically got a job there. So that was basically general dog's body. I was only advanced open water, but that's what really kind of trained me and sort of got me into like the scuba diving industry. So at my dive centre, which is Dive Line in Ipswich, they basically do everything from equipment sales to training, to servicing, and even a few other bits sort of outside of the dive industry. But that was very good. It trained me all the different aspects of the dive industry, including sort of free diving and commercial diving as well, because it's not just recreational diving. There's all sorts of other tiers kind of in the background that you might not even think about. But yeah, it taught me everything about equipment, which is my sort of specialist subject at the moment. I know quite a lot about all sorts of scuba diving equipment, and that's really my speciality. But whilst I was working there, I climbed up through the ladders and I became an instructor. So I actually used to teach there. I used to teach sort of in their sort of indoor heated swimming pool. I then used to qualify open water students either at an open water lake in the UK, or I actually used to sort of run a few trips out to Egypt, or the dive centre used to sort of run quite a few trips out to Egypt, where you basically you do the initial course, the classroom and the pool work at home, so at the dive centre, and then for your open water dives, then you'd sort of go and do them out in Egypt, somewhere nice, warm and sunny. So I did that for a few years, and that's when I started to get a little bit stir crazy. I enjoy teaching. Teaching is a marvelous thing if you're good at it, and yeah, I've learned all about servicing and all the other sort of types of sort of things about the dive industry. But it just felt like it was time for me to move on. So so then I left. I did a little bit of sort of training sort of elsewhere. I've been sort of all over the sort of world, as it were. I've been to the Caribbean, I've been diving up in sort of Norway and whatnot. But then I saw a job listing at Simply Scuba. So Simply Scuba, obviously, you probably found me through their channel. Yeah, there was a job listing for scuba diving specialist, and that's very much what I was and what I still am. And yeah, they took me under their wings. They got me in front of the camera, which I never really thought I'd be sort of into, but it turns out I'm quite good at it. And yeah, they helped, and they've actually helped me to grow as well. So I was very much a recreational diver when I left teaching. I did used to dive on twins, but quite rudimentary twins when I look at them sort of right now. But Simply Scuba just sort of opened up another door for me into the other side of the sort of dive industry, where it was more sort of more in-depth and more specific. So that's when I got more into DIR style diving, and still diving on twins, but then I moved on to sort of rebreathers and side mount as well. All sorts of different kind of setups, and yeah, that's kind of where I am at the moment. So yeah, professionally diving for at least sort of 6, maybe 7 years. No, it's going to be even more now. It's going to be probably about 10 years, to be honest, when I actually think about it. But actually diving is going to be sort of close to 12 years. I progressed quite quickly. I took about 2 years to become an instructor, because you don't want to go zero to hero. You don't want to just sort of get your 100 dives and get yourself signed off as an instructor, because you haven't got the experience where you actually have to sort of see and sort of think about things and sort of interrupt problems before they occur. But yeah, and that's kind of my my sort of history as a scuba diver. I'm happy diving anywhere. Some of my favourite dives are sort of here at home in the UK, but yeah, I'm very much happy diving in colder waters, but also obviously on sort of nice sunny warm holidays. Now obviously I'm filming at home. We're not actually at work at simplyscuba.com. There's a very small sort of skeleton crew who are basically just shipping orders at the moment. Everybody else is actually at home, obviously because of the coronavirus, the COVID-19. Right now I'm in my dive locker, which is, yeah, just this kind of underground place where all of my scuba diving equipment is, and that's basically what I'm going to be showing you in my channel. I'm going to be sort of showing you my own equipment, how I assemble it, how I actually dive it, how I maintain it, and just sort of small little sort of helpful things for you guys, whether you are sort of at home isolating, what you can do during your isolation to do with scuba diving, and then afterwards, after this is all blown over, then yeah, I'm going to help sort of do this kind of stuff. Be a little bit more honest than I am on Simply Scuba about sort of dive equipment and how I recommend that you dive. But yeah, if this is something that you're interested in, then definitely hit that subscribe button and that little like button as well, because I am just starting out on my own channel. I still work at Simply Scuba, but this is my own personal channel, so I kind of have to hit the ground running. As always, thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving.